Welcome to episode 2 of our Pokemon Fower application. But you know what? Before we begin, I think there's something missing. And what's missing is your input. So on the 21st of May, we're going to have a special live stream where I show off all of the viewer submitted Pokemon viewer applications. You can take this one, you can build on top of it, add some really cool new features. You could go and re-implement it using Vue or Svelte or React in a different framework. Whatever you want to do, I can't wait to see all the creative stuff that you come up with. Of course, in the meantime, let's finish up my implementation of the Pokemon Fower viewer application right now. Okay, picking up where we left off. The first thing I want to do is make this responsive. So if I do this, like we can see, that's not actually all that good. What we really want at this point is a single line of columns. So let's see how Fower handles responsiveness. By jumping over here to our Fower page, and then looking up here at the top, responsive, and we can see that all we need to do is add a postfix, meaning at the end of any of these classes, effectively, MD, SM, or LG, which is the breakpoint that we want. So I'll go back over to the code, and we added in here grid template columns too, but let's just say that we only want that in the medium breakpoint and above. And then for just regular or small, we want one column. Let's go take a look at that and then try our React app again and see if it works. Oh, very cool. Nice. And you can apply that to anything. So you could make in small size, you can make the text larger or whatever you want. So it's super, super friendly when it comes to that stuff. All right. Let's kind of continue on building out our really cool Pokemon card. So let's go make a box here. And we're going to bracket our 2 pieces of text in that box. And the second one would be that Japanese text. And we'll finish off box. All right, and then we'll go and add one, in this case in smaller text for the type. But we want to join that as an array. And then we want to give it a little margin on the top to kind of bring it down from the Japanese text. Cool. Oh, wait, let's go make these font weight bold. So font bold. All right, now, see how easy that is? Just boom, boom, just like that. Font bold, and there you go. Bold, done. Cool. Okay, let's go make our table of base data. So let's do another box that's going to contain that table. We're not going to use a table for this. We'll just use a 2-column grid. So go here again, grid, pop that down in there. And then within box, we're going to do an object.keys to get the keys from the base object. And then with that, we'll do a map, and that's going to give us the key. And so with that key, we're going to create a box that has the key, and then a box that has the value. And that should work, right? Well, it doesn't work because you only can return one element from there. So what you need to do is you need to do react.fragment and bracket these in that. What React fragment does is it exists in the DOM, but it allows the sub-elements to kind of act as if that wasn't there. So for the case of that grid, it's going to be just fine. Let's go take a look and see how that's actually laying out. Looks pretty good. Nice. Okay. So one thing I also want to go and add a key. So the proper place to do that is on this fragment. And then I also want to make these, let's see, I want to make the whole thing moved in from the left, about 20, moved in from the top, about 10. And, you know, I want this to be, actually maybe text LG and then make these text XL, make those a little bit larger, because I want this one to actually be text SM. I don't think these are that important. Maybe they are if you're like a true Pokemon fan. And then I'll make that one, the first key one, bold. That's looking really nice. I like it. Okay, cool. Next thing I want to do is make this into its own component because it's getting really wordy in here. So let's go and create a new component of all of this. And we'll call this one PokemonCard. and we'll use .tsx actually. And then we're going to export a default, well, we'll make it a constant, we'll call it PokemonCard because we need to define the type on this. And let's just for the moment drop in that big paste blob there. And we'll start fixing this up. So let's go over here. We want we want at least that part. So let's go bring that in. Cool. Okay, so let's head back over to app and let's talk about how we're going to use this. So I'm going to import. None of this is going to work yet, but that's fine. PokemonCard from PokemonCard. And then I'm going to use it down here. Just like so. PokemonCard. And I just want to give it the Pokemon. I just want to say that its key is Pokemon.id. And then I want to give it all of the attributes of a Pokemon. Just like that. Really cool, right? So that's going to be the API surface that we want. So let's go over here. And how are we going to define that? Well, we want to say that this is a React function component. And it's going to take the attributes of a Pokemon. So where do we get a Pokemon? Well, we import it from that custom hook that we created. Just like that. And now down in here, we want to take, let's see, we no longer need the key. We don't need that. But we do need the name, and we need the type, and we need the base, right? And so let's get rid of the Pokemon dot, and that should actually do it. Let's see. All right, looking good. So this is happy. This is actually great. And let's say that we'll add on there new, so we can make sure that it is actually getting called properly. Okay, now we want to actually export this as the default. So let's go and just export default as the PokemonCard, just like so. And I'll go back over here to app, and it looks good. Image there, that's fine. And let's see. Oh, there we go, Bulbasaur new. So it's picking up the new card, and it's showing it. That's awesome. All right, let's go down here and get rid of that new. Don't need that anymore because we know it's working. And the next thing we want to do is go and add that selecting functionality. So that button that had the unique selector in it. So to do that, I'm going to go back over into my custom hook over here. And I'm going to create some new state. And we'll call it selected. We'll have a set selected as well. And that is going to be a use state of a new set. And a set in JavaScript is an array where each item has to be unique. So that's pretty much what we're looking for here. We're just looking for a set of the selected names. So, okay, let's go and specify that is a set of type string. So it's going to be a list of the names. And I'm going to want to return selected. And let's go and add that to the output. And that's a set of type string, just like that. And now I want to shield that set selected. I don't want people to call that directly. So I want to return a new callback, a new function. Called select Pokemon. And it's going to be a use callback. It's going to take a name, which is a string. And it's never going to change. Because what we're going to do is we're going to use set selected. But we're going to use the function variant on this. So it's going to take the current set. And it's going to return a new set. So let's see. I want to create a new set. And it's going to be new set. And I'm going to use current set to initialize it. So we get everything that's in there already. And then we'll return that. And now if current set has, which is the method that you use to figure out whether something's in that set, then we need to delete it from that new set, which is just a copy of the original set. So let's see, new set.delete, and then give it that name. Otherwise, we need to add it. So else new set.add, and we give it that name. Okay, cool. And now let's return select Pokemon. And we'll go up again and define it out here, select Pokemon. is going to be take a name, and it's going to return void, just like that. Okay, looking good. So now we export as well our selected Pokemon as well as a function to select a Pokemon. So let's go over here to our app, and we want to go and bring that in. So select Pokemon and also selected. And now down here, we're going to say selected equals, and because we're going to add a property of PokemonCard, it's called selected. And we're going to take that selected and say it's going to be true if we have the Pokemon.name.english. Just like that. And then we're going to have onSelect, which we're just going to set to select Pokemon. All right, let's go over to PokemonCard. So on top of Pokemon, I need to add selected and onSelected. So I need to use ampersand to say that we want to merge two types together. And in this case, I'm going to add a new interface that's going to have selected, which is a Boolean, and then onSelected, which is going to be a function that gets given a name as a string and returns a void, like that. And which is exactly the same API as over here. Take a name, return a void. Cool. All right, so let's go and kind of make a button for ourselves. So first I need to kind of carve out a space for a button. So I'm going to go and double bracket these two names in boxes. And the reason that I'm double bracketing them, we'll see it in a second. I'm just going to go make this again into a 2-column grid. And let's see. So let's see, grid. 10, that's fine. And that's going to go here. So the names are going to go on one side of the grid, and then our little button is going to go on the other side of the grid. So let's see, box and then a button. And it's going to say if we are selected, then we want to say selected. Otherwise, we want to say not selected. But the reason this is having an issue is because I haven't brought this in as a parameter yet. So let's do that. So selected, and while here, I might as well just go and add onSelected as well. Cool. And then for the onClick on here, I just want to go and onSelected with the name.english. Cool. All right, let's take a look. So, all right, nice. There you go. So functionality-wise, this is working just great. All right, but I don't like the styling on that button, and I want to show a little bit more about how to do some kind of cool styling. So we're going to make another custom component here for a button. And so again, we'll bring in the styled. And I'll start off with a button. And then I'm going to build on top of that. I'm going to call this pill button. And it is going to be a react.function component, but it's going to look just like a button. So how do I do that? Well, let's go over here, and I've got an example over here on Definitely Typed, where you can see that you use this React detail HTML props. So we'll go down here to button, and I'm going to copy out the detailed HTML props for a button. Take a look. So there we go. That's what we're looking at. And I've already copied that. So let me go and take that back into here and pop that in there. It's a lot to look at, but it's fine. And that's just going to take our button. But now the reason that we did that is that this already has like onClick already built into it. So all I got to do in there is I can just say onClick as well as children. And I can just pass on the onClick to that button that I made. So there we go, onClick. And now I'll just use my button that I've created. So it's looking pretty good. And now let's go and add on children down here. And so this is basically the start of my little pill button thing. And I'll replace this with a pill button. Now let's see how we go. All right, it still works, which is good, but it's not actually changed in any substantive way. So let's go and work on our styling of this pill button. So I'm going to add on that I want some padding, and I want it to be text large, and I want it to be width of 80%. Just like that. And let's see how if that's any better. Okay, it's looking pretty good. And one thing I want to do is I want to know whether this is selected or not. So I'm going to pass on, I'm going to extend the pill button with selected. So just like I did with Pokemon and the ampersand here, I'm going to go and extend that detailed HTML props type with a selected as a Boolean. And then I'm going to start using some conditional types, so these are conditional classes, which is really, really cool. So in the case when it's selected, I actually want the text color to be white. And I want the background color to be a really nice blue. So blue, say 600. But again, only if it's selected. So let's take a look and see how we go. Hey, nice, right? So kind of now we know, actually, just visually, that it's selected. So we can take out this selected and just call it select. And I'll do a little more cleanup on this. I'll say that we want it to be, rounded, full. And that gives us that nice pill look. Really cool. And let's give it a border if it's not selected. So border 1 if it's not selected. And isn't this great? I mean, if you're doing like class names and you're kind of like putting conditionals in there, that's such a drag. This is actually really nice and it reads well. All right, and again, we'll add on a border. We'll make the border blue at 600, but only again if it's not selected. Ah, that's really pretty. I like that a lot. There's only one more thing that I would kind of do here, and that's actually, I'm not really happy with a 50-50 split here. And in fact, I find this sort of gridding template columns 2 to be kind of limiting. Grid is so much more powerful than that. So what I really want is I want like a 70-30. So if I were to get rid of this, and I could then go and just say style equals, and then grid template columns, 30% and 70%, just like that. Okay, now, cool, like this icon's just a little bit smaller, and I like it. But this isn't great. I really want actually to be able to add that as that kind of time. I want to have, like, I want to be able to reuse this 30-70 thing a lot. So I'm going to bring in another thing called addAtom, and it's going to come from the Fower core. And with addAtom, I can go and do addAtom, and I can say I'm going to call it grid 3070, and it's going to be basically this style, just like that. Cool. And now I can go and take grid 3070 here and replace that style. And now I've got a grid at 3070 anywhere I want it. And I can make as many of these as I want. And each one of these can be as complex as I want. So you can go and define your own atoms anywhere you want. For example, like let's say you want a 70-30 one. So make it 70-30. And in fact, you can define it with a function and have it look at the different props. It's actually incredibly, incredibly powerful. So I encourage you to look into that. I encourage you to look into this Fower stuff. I encourage you to start creating your own custom hooks. I think it's a great way to learn custom hooks. And I encourage you to check out this code in more detail. Okay, I hope you enjoyed that. You learned a lot more about Fower and custom hooks. But what I really want to see is what you come up with on top of this cool application or the Pokemon Viewer application that you build from scratch. I'm super excited about this and can't wait to see all your submissions on the 21st. There's more details about that in the description down below, or you can jump on the Discord server and just ask me questions about it directly. And of course, you can ask any questions you have about this particular application in the comments section down below. You can hit that like button if you like the video. And of course, feel free to hit that subscribe button if you really, really like the video, and hit that bell and you'll be notified the next time a blue collar coder video comes out.